Hello. Sorry. Force a habit. Let's see if this is working. Hello. I got a lot of things to get off my chest, so fair warning. Hello. I got a lot of things to get off my chest, so. Alright. I think everything is working. And I think that we're here for Ring of Honor TV review, episode number 127. And there's a lot of different directions that we can go into this with. So I apologize for not immediately going into the TV review portion. Because there's a handful, not a lot, a handful of side topics to discuss. First being, I feel that in this series, ever since we've transitioned to me playing Fight Forever and also going over ROH TV, that I've done this match. But I felt this is a fitting match because there was a TNT title change that happened this week. So I'll put 4 TNT champions in this matchup. Let's see who comes out of it with the championship. So I do feel I have done this match, and I realized it, some iteration of it. That doesn't matter. I will say something that also doesn't matter, but I will make note of it. This was a early episode of ROH TV because Collision this week aired on Thursday, and they uploaded ROH early. Now, the reason that it does not matter is because I did not get to watch it early because I have had a very busy week, and it is only going to get busier. I will admit, this is the weird part of it, a lot of my free time this weekend will be going towards WWE 2K25 because it is a free trial, and it's also SummerSlam weekend, so a lot of time will be indulged with dealing with SummerSlam. The thing with WWE 2K25, I have liked it thus far, but I don't want to get sucked in and pay $80 for it because I'm very stingy with my money, and I don't really know if I'll get my money's worth. I love GM mode. I love the idea of fantasy booking and doing stuff in GM mode. That is the main thing that I prioritize and spend a lot of my time doing. I will also give them credit because why I keep saying $80 because I feel the need to always have the season pass to unlock everything and to get the extra characters. And where I'm giving them credit, this year they did a very good job with the DLC and the season pass. And a lot of that for me personally has to deal with the Motor City Machine Guns being involved with that. And it is the first time in 15 plus years that you could use them actually in the game without having to download them. That's besides the point. I did have to get that off my chest because it has been a very busy week. I know I've had to do a lot of other things outside of that, but a lot of my free time has been going towards that. So the other weird thing is like, oh, I could have just streamed on there and blah, blah, blah. But we're going with the old usual ROH TV episode number 127. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that I have not actually watched this week's episode of Collision, but I do know of 2 things. Thing 1, and I already spoiled it for y'all a little bit earlier, but if y'all went on social media and you follow wrestling, you know, Dustin Rhodes no longer the TNT champion. We kinda expected it. Sadly, some probably would say sadly. Some people say it. Kyle Fletcher is the new TNT champion. I'm not jumping off. A lot of people are jumping off the walls after like they won the World Series. It's the TNT title. For Dustin Rhodes, it was a cool thing. For Kyle Fletcher, like, y'all acted like y'all won the World Series. And yes, that is me being a hater, but it is what it is. Thing 2. This might be a little bit more important. Athena has announced that her AEW Women's title match will be taking place at Forbidden Door. So there's a potential. I know that we have a lot of double champions in ROH/AEW. Dustin Rhodes is still tag team and 6-man tag champion. Mercedes Moné, all those titles. Okada is weird because he has the unified title, But a lot of the pictures I see on Twitter, he has all three, or he did a photo shoot with all three, etc. You get the point. We could be adding another person into that with Athena and the potential of her being a double champion. We will see. I have my reservations because she does not have the best win record on AEW TV. When we talk about Ring of Honor, she up there. AEW, I don't know. I would love to see a title change, but we'll see once we get to Forbidden Door. They did promote Death Before Dishonor tonight, and I will also give them some credit because it is kind of a fun poster and commercial. It's kind of Game of Thrones-esque. Even though I didn't really watch Game of Thrones, it's kind of warrior-esque, fighting, spirit, Death Before Dishonor. You get the point and puns there. I feel there is something else that I don't know that I'm forgetting, and I did not write it down. But if it is, it obviously ain't that important because I did not write it down. I didn't watch Collision. I went through the 2 important notes. Let's get through this TV review. Like I said, this was an early episode. Didn't get to watch it live because I've been busy. And it was a good opening contest, a good main event, bleh in the middle. That's a simple way that I could put it. Which that's kind of a lot of these episodes, I'm just being honest. Opening contest, though. The MXM collection teaming up to take on Tomohiro Ishii and Hologram of the conglomeration. Hologram at one point, when they were making their entrance, kind of seemed he was like doing the Tomohiro Ishii walk, which I don't think he normally does, but I picked up on it here, so I'll have to stay tuned to that. Ishii and Mansoor start the bout off with forearm exchanges that Mansoor surprisingly was able to keep up his own with, but struggled once he is chopped in his opponent's corner. Johnny TV, who is at ringside, helps his partners out until Hologram takes him out with a dive. Back in the ring, Hologram takes out the other 2 members of MXM with a dive. They still try to attempt the centerfold on Ishii until Hologram saves the day and even helps Ishii land a brainbuster on Mason Madden because Ishii could not pick up him on his own, but still it'll land the brainbuster and then lands a brainbuster on Mansoor with Hologram sealing the deal with a 450 splash. So Ishii and Hologram pick up the win. Next matchup was John Cruz versus Gringo Loco. Cruz wants the crowd to cheer for him because they're in Loco's hometown, so they're cheering for him, but that does not happen, and I will admit, surprisingly, not much really happens in this match. This felt like going back and forth with the boo yays took up a lot of the early portion of this matchup. Cruz does miss on a 450 splash with Loco following it up with a split-legged moonsault and pick it up the victory. Next matchup, Ring of Honor legend Jimmy Jacobs takes on Blake Christian. And I only really hate saying that because, spoiler alert, he loses this match. So I don't want to really add to Blake Christian building quite the resume because he also beat another Ring of Honor legend in Jay Lethal. But can't go back and change that. Can't go back and change this. There is no code of honor for this matchup. Maybe that's something that we wish we could change. But this is mainly due to the 2 wanting to smack one another. Jacobs was starting to build an advantage until Lee Johnson distracts him at ringside. Jacobs lands a second rope suplex but cannot follow it up with the sliced bread number 2. Christian does a lot of super kicks, side kicks. They're mainly side kicks, but some of them, kind of transitioned into super kicks of some type of variation, so whatever you really want to call it. And he follows it up with the last chancery, aka the vanilla, I've already forgot what it's called. I don't like calling it that name. The last chancery to pick up the victory. Now this is an important note that happened on this week's episode. Outside of the main event, this might be the most important note. Paul Walter Hauser, who was on the AEW Revolution pre-show months ago. Remember when Cope and Mox burnt or tore the house down at Revolution? It's kind of a joke because everybody fucking was crying about that match, but that is kind of... I will say this. That was a crazy ass card, and if you were to ask somebody, they're like, what do you remember about that card? You will get a different answer from everybody. I will admit that about that show. But in proclaims to that, on the pre-show, QT Marshall threw a drink at Paul Walter Hauser, and he was very pissed off about it. And then on Ring of Honor TV, there's like a phone call conversation where Paul Walter kind of wanted to put it behind him, but was also willing to fight and wanting to fight QT Marshall. And QT Marshall even like responded to him later on. Again, this is March. This is one at Revolution, etc. Now we're back here. Paul Walter Hauser was on a podcast and again has issued a challenge to QT Marshall and wants it to be known that he was not happy about what happened at Revolution and is, again, like I said, issuing a challenge to QT Marshall. So it is weird because we a lot of times on ROH TV get shit thrown at the wall and we are having to wait to see what sticks. And there's a lot of random ass things that have happened on ROH TV over the past couple of years where it's like a big deal, it should be a big deal, and then just out of nowhere it doesn't matter. And this might be one of those situations. Another one of those is the Women's Pure Title Tournament, which still hasn't happened. No update on it at all, too, which is effing hilarious. Oh my god, we got a double pin. This is effing hilarious. He's going to win, so let's go ahead and restart it. So, point being, Paul Walter Hauser called out QT Marshall again. I will also preface this by saying that I do know that Paul Walter Hauser is a very busy man, and I did watch Fantastic Four First Steps this past weekend, which is a movie that he was in. I'm not going to give a full critique of the movie. The things that I will say is they were relying on you knowing who the hell the Fantastic Four were, because this movie felt very fast forward, boom, 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 we got to do this, this, and this. Now we got to tell the story, etc. I also felt that they try. I'm not going to say, this is kind of a lot, this is like every Marvel movie. There's a handful that it's not like this, but like almost every Marvel movie, they have their like side quips and jokes. And for this movie, nobody laughed at any of the stuff. And the only thing that I laughed at, and again, giving Paul Walter Hauser credit, was one of his lines when he was talking to Johnny Storm, and he said, "Don't be mad at me because you're dressed like that," something to that extent. So I did get a good chuckle out of that. I did enjoy the movie. It's not like I thought it was a bad movie or anything, but I felt it was kind of a fast forward, boom, 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 and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next more than what happened here, because what they do next I think will either be at the same level or a little bit higher than what they did here. So we will see what happens there. Now, we have a pure rules match, and I am going to apologize in advance because I will say this is the first time in this review history where both of the competitors I am not entirely familiar with. They're CMLL talent, and the main thing that I'll say is that when we've had these CML matches over the past year-ish so, I've known it, I would say, half of the competitors. And a lot of times they're like multi-man tags. So like I said, I kind of know half of the competitors at least. Where this is the first time where both are making their Ring of Honor debut. So again, I kind of have an excuse there because they've never competed in Ring of Honor before. And B, sadly, I'm not entirely familiar with both men, but they're here to compete in some pure rules. And so let's see how well they did. Virus versus Jali. And I know butchered one of those names. It's hard to remember. It's not hard to remember how to say it, but the commentary crew even had a hard time saying it. So I feel I would have a hard time saying it. Lots of leg locks early from both, and one another attempting armbar attempts. Jali finally causes a rope break uses one of his first rope break after escaping a leg lock, but then applies a cloverleaf stretch, making Virus use his first rope break. We get a backdrop by Virus that leads to his second rope break attempt after the 2 count, which is a very rare instance when we are in a pure rules match where the rope break is used on a pinfall, because most of the times it's a submission. So this one came off of a pinfall, but we get a shoeless submission that leads to Jali picking up the victory over Virus. So now we're here for the main event, the main thing from this episode, and 110% my favorite thing from this episode. Ring of Honor World Title Match. Bandido taking on Adam Priest, who is, I don't want to say popped up on I don't know what popped up out of nowhere. But in Ring of Honor wise, he kinda has. He only has two victories, one victory, maybe two victories. Not a lot of victories. Kind of popped up out of nowhere. But Bryan Danielson has went out of his way to also say that this is the best independent wrestler out there right now. I like Adam Priest from everything that I've seen, and something that I like is that the Workhorsemen like accompany him to the top of the stage, and I think that would be a badass trio. So hopefully it's not just a tease, and we get something out of those three being together. But will they be joined? Will they have gold with them? Is the point that I'm saying, or silver, because the title's silver. But you obviously want the gold, sucker. Regardless, Bandido versus Adam Priest. We get a fast pace early on from Bandido. Bandido, I guess, somewhat slows it down by holding up Priest for 30 seconds in a delayed suplex. Then Priest tries to keep Bandido grounded after throwing him into the barricade on the outside. Priest lands a backbreaker for a 2 count, and then Bandido stops the three amigos that Priest was taunting him with, and then follows it up with the X knee. And then Bandido tries to attempt the 21 plex, but Priest knocks at that knee because this knee's been giving him some trouble for quite a while. Even a lot of his offense involves him having to use that same knee. He's not able to land the 21 plus, like I said, but he's able to escape out of the half crab that Priest applied, and is able to land a pop-up cutter and a frog splash, leading to a successful title defense and end of ROH episode 127. And then if you were watching this live, you could just transition to Collision, which I'm going to upload this video and do that myself because, like I said, I have not watched this week's Collision just yet. We got a lot of interesting things going on, and the good thing right now that I will say, Bandido has been regularly appearing on ROH TV, and I do like that, and the title matches that we've been getting are good. I will not yet say he is having the best world title reign in this era of ROH, but he's building up a great damn case, and that is realistically what we're asking for. It's definitely better than Jericho's. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm already might be willing to say it's better than Kingston's. Might be. I'm going to have to really think about it. That Supercard of Honor matchup helps him out a lot. Him showing up regularly and defending it in main event matches helps a lot. And we got Death Before Dishonor right around the corner. I would imagine he's got a title match there. I would imagine it. And it's going to be another banger. So I'm excited to see that whenever we do. So like I said, very busy schedule. I'm not going to hold you on for a lot longer than I need to. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and you watch it all. Hopefully. I do appreciate that. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you when I see you, because I'm out for now. Goodbye, and stay safe, and enjoy your weekend, because there's a lot going on, and it's very hot, so stay safe as well. So, goodbye.